I had watched a woman, a brilliant, results-driven, undeniable woman, get talked over, have her idea credited to someone else, and then get praised for being a team player when she smiled through it. And I said nothing. That is the last time I did that. Enough already! You've worked harder, stayed later, smiled through it, you've shrunk yourself, you've overexplained yourself, you've apologized for yourself, and still walked away feeling like you were the problem. You weren't. You've been playing by rules that were never designed for you, and you're exhausted. You're done. I'm Coach Mo Fall, and this is Enough Already, the podcast for women who are done performing and ready to heal, reclaim, and redefine what their life actually gets to look like when you step into your real power. No more shrinking, no more trying to be less or more, or whatever they need you to be. We're going to name exactly what happened, get free from it, and figure out what comes next. This is your space. This is your moment. Women, we are rising. Let's get into it. I want to tell you why I built this show. 12 years ago, I walked out of a C-suite meeting, a meeting that I had prepared for, a meeting where I had the data, the relationships, and the track record. And I stood in the hallway and asked myself, how long am I going to pretend that what just happened in that room was okay? I had watched a woman, a brilliant, results-driven, undeniable woman, get talked over, have her idea credited to someone else, and then get praised for being a team player when she smiled through it. And I said nothing. I was a C-suite executive. I had power, and I said nothing. That is the last time I did that. I had watched a woman, a brilliant, results-driven, undeniable woman, get talked over, have her idea credited to someone else, and then get praised for being a team player when she smiled through it. And I said nothing. I was a C-suite executive. I had power, and I said nothing. That is the last time I did that. You are not the problem. And nor was I in that moment. I need you to hear that before we go any further. Say it again with me. You are not the problem. You are sitting in an office or on a Zoom call or in a conference room where you are the most qualified person in the conversation, and you are still being paid less, promoted slower, and heard less than the man sitting next to you. That is not your failure. That is a system doing exactly what it was designed to do. But here is what I also know. That system does not get the final word, not in my coaching room and not on this show. You see, we're going to do things differently. We're going to take this, boil it down into its essential elements. My name is Coach Mo Fall, and I spent more than a decade as a C-level healthcare executive. I sat in rooms that were not built for me. I navigated politics that were designed to filter me out. And I made it, and then I left. Not because I failed, because I realized the most important work that I could do was not inside one organization. It was for every woman inside every organization. 12 years ago, I started coaching professional women. I have worked with more than 2,000 of them. 2,000. And in 12 years and 2,000 women, I have seen one pattern above every other. The women who break through are not the ones who outwork. They are not the ones who shrink themselves to fit. They are not the ones who wait patiently for the system to notice them. The women who break through are the ones who do the soul work first. It's an inside job. Soul first, strategy next. It's an inside job. That is my methodology. That is the foundation of this show. And that is what we are going to do to dig into this together every single week, sometimes more than once a week. This is Enough Already. Women Rising. And I have to tell you, I named this show after the feeling I have had for 12 years watching the same situation and data never change. Every year, McKinsey and LeanIn.org publish the Women in the Workplace report. And every year, the headline is the same. Women are still not making it to the top. Not at the rates that we should be, not with the pay we have earned, and not with the recognition our work deserves. In 2024, for every 100 men promoted to manager, only 81 women were promoted. Not because the women were less qualified, because of what researchers call the broken rung. The first step on the ladder is cracked, and women fall through it before they ever get started. Enough already. Women of color hit a concrete ceiling, not a glass one, and the numbers at every level are worse. Enough already. Women are leaving organizations at record rates because they are tired of fighting for basic respect. And companies are calling it a pipeline problem. Enough already. This show exists because inspiration is not enough. Frameworks are not enough. Another book that tells you to lean in is not enough. What we are doing here is different. We are naming the truth. We are bearing witness to real women who have moved through this, and we are giving you something specific to do about it this week in your actual life. And I want to name the witnessing, because that is how we make change. We make change because we see the truth. And that's what change is all about. That's what being true to yourself and really seeing what's going on and where you're at and what you need to do. Because in my C-suite years, I want to tell you something that I have not said on a microphone before. When I was a C-suite executive, I was good at my job. I was very good. I had the results, I had the relationships, and the reputation. And I also spent years contorting myself to fit into spaces that were not designed for how I think, how I lead, or what I care about. I knew how to read a room. I knew when to speak and when to stay quiet. I knew which battles to pick and which ones would cost me more than they were worth. I was strategic. And I want to tell you, being that strategic is exhausting. It is a tax that every woman pays every single day that most of our male colleagues do not even know exists. There is a moment, and I believe most professional women know this moment, when you are sitting in a meeting and someone says something that is factually wrong or dismissive or frankly offensive, and you do the calculation in real time. You weigh, is this worth it? Will I be heard? What will this cost me to speak? And what will it cost me to stay quiet? And either way, you carry something home that very night that your colleague does not. You ruminate. I carried that for years, and I thought it was just the price of the seat until I started coaching. The first 100 women, those women, when I coached after leaving the C-suite, taught me something that changed everything about how I work as a coach. I expected to coach women on strategy, on executive presence, on negotiation tactics, resumes, LinkedIn, and I did all of that. But what I found consistently across industries, across ages, across levels, was that the strategy was not the thing stopping them. Sometimes they needed to learn a few things or not, but the thing stopping them was a story embedded in them. A story they had been given by a manager, by a culture, by a performance review, by a parent, by a lifetime of messages about a woman who wants too much and what that looks like. And they had taken that story and they were running their career from inside it. And the story sounded or sounds like this: I'm not quite ready yet. I shouldn't ask for more. I should be grateful. Or, if I push back, I'll lose what I already have accomplished. Or, maybe I'm really too much. None of those stories were true, not one, but they were running everything: the strategy, the negotiations, the visibility, the relationships, how far to push. All of it was being filtered through a belief that was not even theirs. And I knew this deep down because I noticed a deep shift in me after my breast cancer. It was like I had a deeper lens. My soul wanted more and to be more, and I saw the world differently. And that is when I knew soul first, always, or the strategy does not stick. You know, there is one story that made me start this show. And I want to tell you about a woman. I will call her Diane, though that is not her name. Diane came to me 7 years into a career at a company she loved. She was a director. She had been passed over for VP twice. Both times she had been told she was almost ready, which, if you've been in corporate, you know is code for something that has nothing to do with readiness. In our first session, I asked her, what story are you telling yourself about why you have not gotten this promotion? And she said, without hesitating, I am probably not ready yet. And I said, who told you that? She thought about it for a long time, actually. And then she said, my manager. 2 years ago, he said I had some work to do on executive presence. Executive presence. 2 words that have been used to filter out women, and especially women of color in corporate America, since the term was invented. Words that almost always mean you do not look and sound like the people who already have the power. We spent 3 months doing the soul work, not on executive presence, on Diane, on who she actually was, what she actually valued, and what it would look like and feel like to walk into a room from that place, instead of from the story someone else had given her. And she got the VP role, not because she changed how she showed up, because she stopped apologizing deeply for how she showed up. 2,000 Dianes later, that is still the work. That is still the work. And you know what? I'm going to break this down for you, because this is the nuts and the guts of what I do. And I'm going to tell you this. The inner work is necessary for you to be the CEO of your career and your life. You are in charge. So let's briefly walk through what I mean by soul first. Not because I'm trying to sell you something. We'll actually get there. But Because if you are going to spend time with this show, which I hope you do, you deserve to know the lens we are looking through. And if you want to like or subscribe to this podcast, please do so by clicking the stuff below or on top of the screen. So S is for soul. Your soul is your identity, not your identity the company gave you, not the one of your performance review that defines you at corporate, the real one, your values, your history, the things you know are true about yourself, even when no one else is affirming them. When you are operating from your soul, you make different decisions. My clients know that. You hear feedback differently. You negotiate differently. You stay differently. Not because you have to, but because there's a real reason. O is for ownership, not of your career trajectory in the abstract, of this moment, this conversation, this decision. Most of the women I coach are waiting for permission to claim what they already built. Ownership is the moment you stop waiting. The moment you stop waiting. U is for unstoppable. Not hustle, not grind, not the toxic productivity myth that tells you the answer is working harder, because it's not. Unstoppable is what happens when you stop spending energy managing other people's discomfort with your ambition. When that energy comes back to you, and it does, it is extraordinary what moves you can make. You've got more energy because you stopped bleeding it out. And L is for legacy. What are you building that will outlast your tenure at this company? Legacy is not a retirement thought. It's a daily practice. The women I know who I've coached, who operate from legacy, think about their decisions differently in a bigger context. They take the mentee who will not advance their career, and they speak up in the meeting that will cost them something. They do the hard thing because they are thinking about who is watching themselves. They think about how they want to be in this moment. Soul first, strategy next, every time. Every episode of this show is built on that sequence. We're not going to skip to tactics. We're not going to tell you to own the room without talking about what makes you feel like you belong in the room in the first place. Strategy applied to a woman who does not know her worth is a ladder leaned against the wrong wall. We're going to fix the foundation first because that's where the moves are made, at the foundation. So let's talk about the moves. Let's talk about what really needs to shift for you. For you. And every week, every episode, we're going to close the same way. One thing to stop, one thing to start, and one truth to carry forward. Every single episode. So here's one thing to stop. Stop waiting until you feel ready. Ready is a myth that was sold to women specifically to keep them from taking up space before the system is prepared for them. The system is never going to be prepared. Go anyway. One thing to start. This week, I want you to write down one story you're telling yourself about your value at work and ask yourself, where did this story come from? Was it something someone said? A performance review? A matter of being overlooked? A voice in your head that sounds suspiciously like someone who never believed in you? Write it down. You do not have to fix it yet. Just name it, because you cannot change a story you have not identified. So you must do that first. So here's the truth to carry. This is going to be what you take forward. Are you ready? Because I want to talk to someone specific right now. I'm talking to the woman who's been doing everything right, who has the results and the relationships and the reputation, who's been patient and strategic and professional and gracious. And I know that's you. And who goes home at night and wonders why it's not enough. I need you to hear this. It is not about you not being enough. It is about a system that was not built to see you. And we are going to change that. Not by fixing you. There's nothing to fix, but by giving you the tools, the language, the community, and the courage to operate from who you actually are. That's soul first. That is what this show is. You are not the problem. You never were. And enough already. I'll see you on the next episode, which should be coming out in 2 days. But before you go, if this episode felt like something you have been waiting to hear, I want to invite you into something I am opening this Sunday, actually Monday, April 6th. It is called the Soul Code pre-launch, and it is 4 Mondays with me live. Before my book even drops in September, we are doing the work together. The link is in the show notes or below here. It is a limited time and limited enrollment. So go now and click through, and I will see you in the Soul Code. We'll see you there. Soul first, strategy next. If today's episode hit home, share it with a woman who needs to hear it. Because the best thing we can do is make sure no woman sits alone in an experience that has a name. You've been listening to Enough Already. I'm Coach Mo Fall. Please subscribe and like and comment so this can be sent to more women just like you who needs to hear there is a different way. Take good care.